This video is the first one in the Human Systems 1 section. And this is a summary of digestion. On your diagrams page, you should have this image of the gastrointestinal tract. What we're going to do is start at the top and talk about the organs and the secretions. What's missing here is the mouth. In the mouth is where we have our first enzyme secretion. That enzyme secretion is amylase. All enzymes, remember, end in ase, unless they're special enzymes that I'll talk about later. Amylase is in the saliva. Amylase, it breaks down polysaccharides, and the polysaccharide that it's specifically breaking down is amylose, which is starch. As we continue down the tract, we come to the esophagus. The esophagus is a passageway, and in the esophagus is a secretion for lubrication called mucin, but this does not have any physical or chemical breakdown properties. Next stop is the stomach. The stomach has to be closed off from the rest of the digestive tract because of its acidic properties. It has a pH of 2. There are sphincters at the top and the bottom to prevent chemicals from escaping. These chemicals are secreted are part of the gastric juice that's in the stomach. Gastric juice has hydrochloric acid, or HCl, and it also has a protein digester. In the inactive form, this is pepsinogen. And in the presence of hydrochloric acid, it turns into pepsin. And pepsin is an enzyme that has an optimal pH of 2 that acts only in the stomach because of that optimal pH. Because the stomach is so acidic, it has mucus to protect it. Once we continue out of the stomach, we have many different accessory organs that secrete different enzymes and juices into the intestinal tract. On this side, we have the liver. The liver is responsible for the production of bile, which helps to emulsify fat. The liver is also responsible for breaking down proteins, breaking the amino group off, and making urea. Urea is the nitrogenous waste that's in urine. And your liver is also responsible for detoxifying your blood. So if you drink alcohol or take any drugs, the liver is responsible for cleaning that out. Associated within the liver is the gallbladder. The gallbladder stores bile. This fluid that breaks up large globs of fat by splitting them apart so that different enzymes can get at them. It stores bile and it secretes this bile into the small intestine. And small intestine is labeled or abbreviated SI. The word we used for breaking up fat was emulsify. Provides more surface area. So these are secreting into the small intestine. The first section of the small intestine is expanded right here. It has a special name. It's the duodenum. Also being secreted into the duodenum are secretions from the pancreas. The pancreas is an essential organ that helps us regulate sugar. It secretes insulin and glucagon, which regulate blood sugar. In this case, it actually secretes certain chemicals into the intestinal tract, and that's what we'll write down here. First, we have a load of super low pH liquefied chyme coming in. So we need to neutralize that pH with a base. The base that is secreted from pancreas is bicarbonate. What it does is it increases the pH to 8. So a little bit more basic than neutral. Also secreted is pancreatic amylase. We saw amylase in the mouth, but it was denatured salivary amylase in the stomach because of the extremely low pH. So it's back now to continue digestion of starch. Lipases are secreted. Lipase breaks down lipids, and bile helps emulsify them or split them up. Proteases. These are different kinds of enzymes that break down different parts of proteins. Also part of this group is peptidases. And another special enzyme, trypsinogen, is inactive and activates to form trypsin, which is responsible for protein digestion in the small intestine. The actual small intestine wall also has secretions that support digestion. In the middle here is the small intestine. What occurs here is complete digestion. So every macromolecule is broken down into its monomer for absorption. Also, what needs to happen here is absorption. So these molecules that have been broken down have to be small enough to pass into the bloodstream so it's possible for the organism to use it. This is achieved by a structure called a villi. Villus is singular, villi is plural. Villi can only absorb monomers. An example of monomers are monosaccharides, which are monomers of sugar or carbohydrates. And amino acids are the monomers of protein. The struggle is fats. Inside villi are something called lacteals. And lacteals are responsible for the absorption of fat with the help of the lymph system. Triglycerides, or animal fats, are made up of fatty acids, as well as a glycerol molecule. They have to be disassembled and reassembled using the lymph system. A villi looks like this. A projection of the small intestine wall. And inside is a lacteal. And this lacteal is surrounded with access to the lymph system as well as access to a blood supply. The large intestine surrounds the small intestine, but no more digestion occurs here. The large intestine is responsible for the absorption of water. There's plenty of bacteria that exist in the large intestine, and they aid with vitamins and other kinds of support. So vitamin K is produced here. In order to make sure that we can excrete any undigested waste, there needs to be an appropriate water balance. So if we eat fiber, that helps us have soft feces because it prevents too much water from being reabsorbed. So we have bowel movements that aren't stressful. The reason for this is because we don't have an enzyme that supports the digestion of cellulose. And cellulose is plant cell walls. So anything that has lots of fiber in it is plant-based. Where there is a storage of ready-to-be excreted feces is in the rectum, and the anus is the last spot with a sphincter, that one under your control and one not so much. This is the digestive system and the secretions involved.